Ilya Yashin sits at a cafe somewhere in Berlin. Just 2 weeks ago, he was in a Russian prison cell. Released as part of the biggest East-West prison exchange since the Cold War, the leading Russian opposition figure is still coming to terms with his new life of freedom.
I have mixed feelings. On the one hand, I'm happy to be free, to hug my family and see close ones. I only managed to hug my mother twice in 2 years. At the same time, it is very hard to realize that my comrades are still serving time.
The 41-year-old anti-Putin activist, who had been jailed for publishing videos exposing Russian atrocities in Bucha, had vowed to remain in Russia, fighting from within the system.
I was ready to stay in Russia, even in prison. I was in fact deported in breach of the law and all legal norms. For some reason, Putin decided to kick me out of my home, although it is my home too. I'm not Putin's guest. That is why it's hard for me to accept all this.
His new status won't stop him continuing to fight for an end to the war in Ukraine and freedom for Russia. Last week he spoke to supporters in a Berlin park, calling for other Russian exiles to put pressure on family back home to turn against the war.
I was a politician in Russia, a politician in prison, and now I have a new experience and I shall be a politician in emigration. I'm not ready to talk about specific plans now, but in terms of priorities, I have two main directions: anti-war enlightenment for those who have remained in Russia, and secondly, human rights. There remain many political prisoners behind bars, and I shall work to save those people.
He has no doubts that the war is a tragedy for all involved, as recent events in Kursk demonstrate.
I want Russian people to understand that this war was unleashed by Putin, that this aggression is against the national interest of our country, and to speak against this war is to be a Russian patriot.
For now, Yashin plans to take a few weeks off, gather his thoughts and think about his next steps.